Let's get started. Hi everyone. Today's class is about the manual operation of industrial robots. There are three modes of manual operation: single-axis movement mode, linear movement mode, and repositioning movement mode. Next is the introduction of how to manually operate a robot in these three modes. The contents include manual operation in single-axis movement mode, manual operation in linear movement mode, manual operation in repositioning movement mode, and how to use manual shortcuts. For the part 1, ABB Industrial Robots has 6 servo motors that drive 6 joint axes of the robot. Therefore, manually manipulating one joint axis each time is called single-axis movement. Here are tips for using the operating stick. The stick is like a car throttle, and the operating range of the stick is related to the robot's motion speed. If the range is narrow, the motion will be slower. If the range is large, the motion will be faster. In manual operation, it is advisable to operate the robot slowly with a minimal range to ensure safety. Here are the steps for the manual operation of single-axis movements of industrial robots. Now, step 1. Turn on the power and switch the robot status to the manual speed limit state. Step 2. Confirm that the robot's status has been switched to manual mode in the status bar. Click on the drop-down menu on Main menu. Step 3. Click Movement Mode. Step 4. Choose axis 1 to axis 3 and click Yes. Step 5. Press Enabler with your left hand to enter the motor on state, and the first, second, and third axis of the robot will be moved by operating stick. The larger the operating range, the faster the robot. Using the same way selecting the operating sticks of axis 4 to axis 6. The axis 4 to axis 6 will operate. The arrows and numbers on the direction bar of the operating stick represent the positive direction of movement of each axis. Next, the manual operation in linear movement mode. The linear motion of industrial robots refers to the movements of TCP installed on the 6th axis flange plate of the robot. If the operator wants to achieve linear movements of the robot, it is necessary to set the coordinate system, tool coordinates, and workpiece coordinates. The coordinate system should include geodetic coordinates, base coordinates, tool coordinates, and workpiece coordinates. The tool coordinates specify the location of TCP, and the coordinate system specifies in which coordinate system TCP runs. The workpiece coordinates define which workpiece coordinate system TCP runs in. Only if the coordinate system is the workpiece one, then the workpiece is effective. Steps for manually operating linear movements. Step 1. Choose manual operation on the ABB main menu. Please scroll the main page if you cannot find it. Step 2. Click Movement Mode and select Linear Movement Mode. Step 3. Select the Tool Coordinate System Tool 0. Here, we use the system's built-in tool coordinates. Please refer to Chapter 4 for the establishment of tool coordinates and power on the motor. Step 4. Operate the stick on the demonstrator to let TCP point in tool coordinates moves linearly. The directions of X, Y, and Z in the direction bar represent the positive direction of movement of each coordinate axis. Next is about the steps for turn-on increment mode. Step 1. Click Increment on the ABB main menu. Step 2. The displacement and angle corresponding to the increment are shown in the table below. Select the moving distance of the increment mode as needed, and then click Yes. Now, let's talk about the manual operation in repositioning movement mode. The repositioning motion of a robot refers to the motion of TCP on the 6-axis flange of the robot rotating around the coordinate system, which can also be understood as the motion of the robot making posterior adjustment around the TCP points. The following is a method to manually operate repositioning movements for the steps of manual operation in repositioning mode. Step 1. Choose movement modes on the ABB main menu. Step 2. Choose repositioning movement mode and click Yes. Step 3. Choose a coordinate system. Step 4. Select the tool coordinate system and click Yes. Step 5. Press the enabler with your left hand to turn on the motor and make sure it's turned on in the status bar. Step 6. Operate the robot to move around TCP points for adjustment. The directions of X, Y, and Z in operating stick represent the positive direction of movement of each coordinate axis. Next is how to manually use shortcuts. Shortcuts for manual operation can switch external axes, linear movements of repositioning movements, the 1 to 3 axis and 4 to 6 axis of joint movement, as well as increment status. They are frequently used in robot operation and programming. Here are steps for using shortcuts. Step 1. Click the menu of shortcuts. Step 2. Click the robot icon. Step 3. Click Displaying Details to choose more function, including the setting of tool data, workpiece coordinate system, and operating lever magnification, as well as switching increment status, collision monitoring, and selecting coordinate system and movement modes. Step 4. Turn on the increment and choose the level as you need. Step 5. Click User and set the level of increment as you want. Okay, that's the end of the class. Thanks for watching.